as I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Okay, we are at the back doing wet felting art. This I did not have the energy or time to finish last night, which is going to happen again when I start on the felting bag, but I've got everything ready for the bag. I've got my little towels. I have to get some more clean bubble wrap over here. So now we can do some of this. Excuse me. Now it's really funny, we were having a discussion today in the creative circle about allergies, because one of the people in the building had to go see an allergist today. I said, yeah, I got tested years ago, and according to them I'm allergic to everything but horses and feathers, which I always find amusing, since I have no interest in having either as a pet, a bird or a horse. That's also the name of a funny Marx Brothers movie. So, horse feathers. horse feathers was a word that was used kind of back in the old days, like instead of saying, oh, bullshit, it was horse feathers. Yeah, when horses fly. So apparently I am allergic to wool, but I notice a lot of things over here I'm kind of allergic to. My nose itches every time I play with wool or soap, water, paints. Different paints can get me itching. So I gave up taking meds for it because the meds are bad for you long term. And I just got used to certain discomforts, I guess you could say. And overall, I have done okay. I've spared myself many years of over-the-counter drug abuse. Well, use. Still allergic to those same things, I guess, but I said I'm allergic to cats and dogs, and that didn't stop me from raising a whole tribe of them. Pack. Now, although this is kind of boring, it turns out it's actually some exercise. And the only reason I realized it was because suddenly my steps went up on my little tracker. It's like, I didn't go anywhere today. How could I possibly have 10,000 steps? And then I realized it was more like 10,000 rolls. I've actually ordered some bamboo sushi rolling mats. I had a special order them because most of them are 9 by 9. So I got one that's 12 inches long, so we would have a little bit more space to roll. I couldn't find anything longer without it turning into like an expensive bath mat, floor mat, something to cover a whole table. But aside from scarves, which I'm going to need more room for, I really tend to work on smaller things like this. We're trying a multi-layer felted flower, with this being the first layer, and this the second and third layer. that'll work better after I cut out the piece of plastic that is keeping this from becoming one layer instead of the two. We'll be cutting it there to pull the plastic out. And then, yeah, right there. It'll get felted into that. And if that looks very thin, that might be the problem. I don't have enough fiber. Crappy time to discover that, but not too late. Just come on. We'll get you in there. Oh, anything else here a little weak? A little bit on the edge. You know what, let's go ahead. While I'm doing it, may as well. I think we're going to do something like that. I'm all out of that particular orange. Drat. Where's a child when you need one? Again. Ooh, you know what? I think I want to add a little bit more, some little orange highlights to come up with the pink. No, you know, we'll go ahead and take a little bit more of that. We will finish this today. Because I keep setting myself back when I add more wool to it. But we will get it done today. Now they have things that are made out of wool, wood, excuse me, with texture on it similar to bubble wrap, but in wood. And you rub that, I guess 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, whatever you've got handy. The idea being soap, water, and pressure. We'll have to see how many steps I get in today. Okay. I'll draw that off a little. You are not yet felted, though I think you're too big. I got it and then I messed it up. I think it's saying Wonka, Wonka, Wonka. Fozzie Bear in the house. Maybe I need drugs. could be saying vodka, vodka, vodka. I jest. It's not saying anything, it just sounds. Oh yeah, I can't sing that. It's not mine. It's a drag. I can't do anything but my own music legally. It's hard to hum the electronic music that we're allowed to use for free. I need a song, like a work song. And all I can think of is, oh, oh, oh. I don't think that's legal either. These copyrighted sounds. What's fun about this is once you get past the delicate stage, it likes it when you get her off. It likes pressure. Unlike most people. We're almost there. What about the other side? That one I'm not going to pull yet because we just added that. So let's do a bit more rock and roll in here. I can't wait to see how a bamboo mat works versus this. And with the bamboo mat, it lets the water out faster, which is a good thing. Once you get the knitting going, you'll want to squeeze most of the water out. But this is, I don't know if we can squeeze anything else out. We're just making suds at this point. I made it very thin on both sides because I didn't want to add weight to this. Now this hasn't been trimmed into shape yet, but we're not going to do all that until we get the rest of it together. So once the plastic is removed, we're going to have two discs that will be layered. Hmm. Yeah, we're going to keep these smooth. You're not done. No, you're still not. Okay, are you? Well, instead of overdoing it, I need to take the middle out. I can always needle felt that in place, so I'm not going to sweat that right this second. I do need to basically cut right through there. Yep, there it is, right in the middle, where it belongs. Except where he felt it over itself, or into itself. Yep, yep, it felted together. We don't want to happen, but it might work out for the best in the end. them to be separated for sure. Because we got that. And again, it's kind of convenient to already have that done. Okay, so we have to gonna work at each layer. This is a good craft for people who have nervous fingers. Need to keep busy, busy, busy. This will give you busy. Look how lacy that is. I love that. Let's get rid of some of this. This will get tossed in the bathtub for when I'm cleaning all of these. But not right this minute. Okay. Obviously, I have to wait until this is dry. I'm actually going to wash the soap out. Now, some people recommend not doing the soap out, but I want to know what I'm working with before I get I put something in. So this is shrinking nicely. We're going to cut that down, but that's for tomorrow. Right now, we're going to let this. We're going to let this sit for tonight. Probably after I'm off the air, I will wash it, soak it in vinegar and water, water with a splash of vinegar, and bring the sheen back out into the wall. So for now, that's where this is headed to become part of this. Might even open that up to get the center here before we trim everything to work together. So cool. For now, over there. Now let's safely move some of these other fibers I don't want getting mixed up in the next project. This goes in with the yellows, yellows, the reds. Reds, that's pink. Oh, here we go. the yellows. I just ordered more of these so I can break up the colors even better. I just zipped the end of this finger into this. Well, that's unique. Okay. Now we need to make more room. I'll start by moving this over. No needle felting today. Sip of tea, towels. Where'd I put the towels? Oh, there we go. Okay, we're gonna have to move some stuff around. All right, so this next project is going to be using, oh, you guys move, get out of my way over there, thank you. It's going to be all beige base, or a natural base, with highlights here and there, a lighter natural color, some definite white to throw a little misty stuff in there, some blue highlights. I want it to be just slightly reminiscent of a nice blue sky with clouds. And then we're going to have this as the embellishment. So I am making a purse, pocketbook, a light bag to just hold some basics over a dress, so you know, cross body thing. And anything that's going to go cross body, it should be comfortable. Never like these big bulky purses anyway, but you know, here I'm shopping, they're handy. Oh, that tea is good today. Okay, so now I am in need of my long, specially prepared bubble wrap. I hope this is it. Yes, it is. Well, it's the top of it anyway, so let's get it down. Make sure we do it right. Let's get this out of the way for the moment. Okay, so I'm gonna have to mark this because we need the wool to go all the way around this, but also come out here so it can become a flap. Now when it's done, it's going to be a little stretchier. It's going to be a little bit bigger than this until I really work the hell out of it, and it'll shrink up a little bit. But I'm making it strong so it can carry like my phone safely. I don't want anything falling out the bottom. So let's see what I decided the length is going to be. Now this time We don't have to go very far over. We're just going to need enough to fold it in and make a nice heeled seam. So I did tear up more than enough. We're not going to have the flap go all the way down there. It's really going to be closer to like here with some of these little things dangling. So you can do it two ways. I can do it inside out, but I think we'll decorate the outside. So we're going to be, what you see is what you get. So we're going to do the inside of it first. And you are an amazing person. It's about time you recognize that. Aloha. So tell me how amazing you are, because I love stories of amazing. Oh, that was a strange break. Okay. Tell me something good. Oh, isn't that gorgeous fiber? Oh, thank you, Miss Sheep. Okay, we're gonna one way, and then we're gonna be doing another way. Okay, I have to make sure I'm doing the right way. This I'm not gonna remove like the black hair for the black sheep, because I want color. I want things to be natural and different, and not like it was all bleached. I think I actually saw that. All right. I don't know what that means to you, but if you're happy, that means it's a good thing. And you don't think you're finding your truth. You know you're finding. That's what happens when you wake up. It's not a thinking anymore. It's a knowing. No one has to explain it or validate it. You know. Just like I know we don't die. I'm so secure that I have zero fear of death. And not that I want to suffer. I don't like suffering. I still have a human body, but I'm not afraid of what comes next at all. Because I know. I am glad that you are connecting and feeling good. What could be better than more lights in the world? Or I should say, all the lights that are already in the world suddenly realizing they are a light in the world. Oh, that's a drag. It's one thing I'm extremely grateful for. Sorry I can't share. Will you be able to attract some? You know what my self-talk about that is? I'm never out. Never out for long, because as soon as I'm out, I got somebody there to help me. That is exactly what happened this week, as always happens. Keep saying it. If you feel like you're bullshitting yourself, of course it's not going to work. You have to connect with that. Yes, it's out there, and I know it's out there. I don't have to ask. It will appear. I never have to ask. I get a ride in time, or someone makes an offer in time. This time it was my birthday. So it's happened before many times for you, so you know. Irie. Say it with me. I'm never out for long. Nope, don't get too enthusiastic that way. We want to go that way. That's the right away. Here we go. Because we need to make the flap. Did you ever smoke tobacco, Maui? trying to save my plants with repotting. Oh yeah. Just keep the roots from drowning. They'll be all right. They may be a little wilty for a few days, but they'll recover. As long as they don't sit and rot. Yeah, it's amazing how they can recover, right? Hey, just look at that. That's a beautiful curly hair in there. You pay extra for that. I don't think I'm going to need all of the wool that I cut, but it's not like it went to waste. We will use a good bit of it. Now, I know you're stuck with tomatoes in pots, and we couldn't do much with the pot other than make sure it was buried twice as deep as everybody thinks it should be. But in the field, we would dig the hole and lay the plant down sideways and cover the whole thing except for the tip. So the tip would be pointed up, and the whole stem and the root ball would just be down and, kind of like that. Because it'll root all across that, and you will end up with more tomatoes than you think. Also, it'll be a stronger plant. But you can't do that in a pot for obvious reasons. Just always plant them deeper than you think it needs when you first do that. So don't worry if you lost some, because they'll propagate very easily from the same plant. And because you're starting with a clone, it won't take all that extra time. Okay. Let's see, Mark. Well, that was only half of one strand I cut. Yeah, I think we're going to be fine. I don't have to worry about any shortage of this wool. this. It's probably easier to do if my hands are dry. And now I'm going to make the flout. Whoa. Easy there, fella. Whew. Now, if my nose doesn't start itching soon, I'll be surprised. Whoa. I think we've got too much here. This is such a trippy material to work with. I love it. All right, now I need to start making this into what looks like a fabric. Let's open this up some more. A little bit of overlap. We are going to be going back and forth on this now. Aren't you glad that's past tense? Remember how insane one feels when they run out of tobacco versus running out of the greenery? Greenery, you can miss it, you can want it, but you don't go through withdrawal. Your body isn't making you freak out and get pissy with the world. I have never known anybody going through tobacco withdrawal that was pleasant to be around, and that includes me. I was hell on wheels if I couldn't get that drug. People forget tobacco is a drug. They say, oh, we were drug free, but I smoke and I chew. You're not drug free. Matter of fact, you're addicted. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm not a slave to that anymore, because boy, that really was intense. And then quitting. Yeah, that was the real drugs. When you run out and you freak, that's a drug problem. If you run out and you go, damn, all right, I'll think about something else for a while until it shows up. That's okay. I remember down south, now you know all the stories about rednecks, they're true. I remember going to the bookstore, and one of the owners of the bookstore, her husband was a state patrolman. I forget what well, a state cop. So he ended up as a state cop in a country town where they don't have a lot of police. He got called for all kinds of stuff. And he was telling me back then, he said, oh, marijuana's going to be made legal. It has to be. And I'm like, really? I didn't expect to hear a policeman saying that. And he said, oh, whenever we get a call about a domestic situation, it's always alcohol or meth. It's never weed, unless the weed is also connected with someone doing meth. And of course that meant that if they were drunk, they were combatant. And it was dangerous because down there, you know, everybody owns a gun or you're weird. They said eventually, you know, and police don't want to get shot at any more than anyone else. We're all for legalizing marijuana. It's a stupid arrest. It just wastes our time. It's too much paperwork for nothing. Basically, people who are just smoking weed are just not a problem. I mean, what are they going to do? Rob somebody for some chips? And I remember people were talking about it being a sports enhancement drug, and I'm going, you've never smoked pot. Tell me you've never tried it without telling me you never tried it. It's obvious. These people never tried it if they thought it enhanced physical activities. What it enhances is the munchies, weight gain, sitting in front of the television forever, getting trapped by video games. That's weed. Robbing a bank, speeding down a street, not likely. Usually you can tell who's been smoking versus who's been drinking, because the drinkers are reckless and speeding, and pot smokers are going under the speed limit because they're too busy either being paranoid about their driving, or they're absorbed by the landscape and just don't see the sense in rushing. It's a beautiful morning. Yeah. I think I'll go outside a while and smile. So that's weed. Yes, it is. Exactly. Why was it everywhere? Before, I mean, they knew all the risks. They knew it was addictive. They knew everything because it came out that the reports came out, and all they did was pay doctors to lie on TV so they could make the sales. Then they were able to get machines, the vending machines. I remember that. How do you think every underage kid got their smokes? The basement of apartment buildings next to the parking garage where they put the machines. It was 25 cents a pack when I started smoking. And I remember being upset when it went to 35 cents. And I remember even then as a kid going, when it hits $1, I'm done. Now it's what? When Rich was here a couple of years ago and he went to buy some at the local liquor store, it was over $14 for one pack. It's like, mm-mm-mm. Now, are you at the point where, like, I cannot stand the smell of tobacco now? I can smell it on the elevator, I can smell it on people's hair and clothing, on their breath. It literally, I mean, I don't throw up, but I feel like it. Have you reached that point? Because for a while I could tolerate it just fine. Matter of fact, there were some cigarettes that smelled a lot like the one I used a Newport smoker. And started off with Cool, but ended up with Newport for at least 20 years. But when I smelled a Newport, my mouth would go. But then after that last quit, no. My subconscious mind was my unconscious mind was successfully convinced that smoking was not going to happen anymore, and it stopped desiring it. And I had no withdrawals, no nothing. But within a couple years, 2 or 3 years later, yeah, the smell, ugh, can't be around anybody. I felt really bad when Rich was here because, he was smoking, and it was like, you have to go wash up right now, because I couldn't even stand it in my presence. And I felt bad because I knew he was only smoking while he was here, vacation, and I'm not going to argue with that. It's like, enjoy yourself. but I felt like a nag, you know. It's like, I mean, he did. He was very clean about himself, so, you know. Nevertheless, oh yeah, there was a time when I was in North Carolina. I remember the gas station had a display where you could get flavored cigarettes by the one, but those were $1 each. Now, I had already quit, but I was intrigued by the different flavors. It was like a chocolate cigarette, a vanilla cigarette, cinnamon, which gross, but people liked the different flavors, and they were the real tobacco cigarettes. So I don't think I ever did buy one to try. I might have bought one, but then no, I don't think so. Also, it was like a terrible way to market because each one was in its own little tube. It's like, this is nothing but landfill garbage. Also, remember, I don't know if they still do, but they were selling half packs. Mostly what I remember about dimes was you could buy a dime joint, a pin joint for a dime. But that was when you were getting something really good. But a pin joint is pretty much nothing but paper and a little teeny bit down the center, and you just end up going, why did I pay $10 for this? But it's really funny, when I first started smoking, you know how guys are with girls? I never paid. I mean, I tried to pay. I wasn't looking for freebies, but somebody would say, hey, let's go get a buzz in the parking lot, like especially when I was doing gigs, because you have your breaks. Everybody wants to get you stoned when you're a musician. But actually smoking weed between sets is not a good idea. I've always got some stuff for free, and I must have been smoking weed for 2 years before I actually was able to buy some. And when I bought it, I was so shocked and appalled because it had seeds and stems in it, which I did not recognize, because people would give me a film container full of cleaned weed. It was already clean. I didn't even think about how it grew because, hey, I was just, by then, 19 maybe. So yeah, it was kind of funny not to even think about that, because I learned all about that as a grower, but later. But when you're a New York City girl, you know, well, that's not real. Okay, where's that tweezers? Of course, the price of weed just kept going up. Let's see. Well, you're only a few years younger than me, so the prices were probably fairly close. A nickel bag was really a $5 bag, and an ounce was $25 for a 4-finger bag. Remember that? Because they had just invented sandwich bags. They turned out to be so handy. Alright, now this is going to be the flap. we're going to do some... We're going to have to strengthen this whole thing. All right, we'll just keep going. So I wanted to add some of the colors in. Just going to go some wispies. It's like I knitted myself. All right, let's make this little shorter, easier to handle. You know, one of the things that people used to do this with was their own hair. And you know what? That makes a whole lot of sense when you realize how much hair you shed every day if you still are growing a lot of hair. It's like, you know, instead of throwing it in the garbage, I could be compiling it, and then I could just comb it out like wool, and I can weave my own hair. Now, it's really funny because I do that in Nomaris, the dragon elder Una, mother of Phalak, cut her own hair, which was like down to the ground and silvery, and she wove it into a cape for her son. And then she took off. A little Nomarian history. So I've been thinking about that because weaving, matting, making yarn, stuff like that, using your own hair is actually, it's going to be brought up in my third story because it fits. Again, when I started the book and I had all these ideas, this wasn't one of them. This is one that came up as an answer to another problem in the story. It's like, oh, look at that, a new skill. I don't mind. You should see what I went through to learn about dates. You know, the plant. It takes a long time to grow up a date palm from seed. They are not eager to come out of those hard little pits. And once they do, they're vicious. They're a vicious plant. This is actually coming out a little lighter than I first saw it in my mind. But that's not a bad thing. It'll end up going with more things, I guess. This is because of the dresses that I got that have no pockets again. No pockets. Even though when I ordered them, the description said pockets. Do I like carrying a purse? No, I do not. I have never enjoyed carrying a purse. It's just been a matter of practicalities. Okay, calm down. All right, we need to go which way? This way. So Maui has been rescuing his garden since the rains began. Hey. All right. Maybe the gnats gnawed their way out of the plastic bag. No, I don't think anything's moving in there. I have never been so frustrated by gnats before. I have had to deal with actually fungus gnats when we had the weed garden. But there was another thing that was way worse. Mites. Is it? You know, I can't remember anymore. I'm glad I don't want to have to keep thinking about that time in my life. I have discovered that the less you bring up a memory, the faster, when you have a bad memory and it comes up, the faster you change your mind away from it, the faster it fades. It comes up less and less and less until you just actually forget about it. don't think about that part of your life anymore, where whatever happened that you don't like happened. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that until some foolish person reminded me. Ah, we need to put more over there. Okay, let's start moving this one inward. I don't want an edge that looks like really commercial. I want something a little, well, you know, unusual, unique. Oh my God. And we're gonna have to put that one back so we can finish putting that on. Ooh, come here. Hey, I'm felting it right now. The water in my hands is getting in the way. Don't felt before your time. It's not your time. Okay, so we've got a little bit of the blue and white in here, but now we're gonna do the fun stuff. Or do I have enough? Nope, I need to put some more here. We're not done. Yeah, I can tell right there. things we don't want to mess up is the bottom. If we don't have enough strength in the bottom, then my stuff's just going to fall right through. We don't need that. So yeah, let's separate that. Now, I will have to make sure it's nice and strong up around the top, because I'm going to have to make holes on the side to make the strap. And I don't need anything that's just going to give up and tear on me right after I start using it. So go ahead. Right? I know. All right. How many do you have to do? All right. I guess we better put some more over here too. Now, I know I'm going to be trimming some of this, but right now we're going to let it go. so I can build up some strength here. See how it's already starting to drape like fabric? It's starting to become fabric. And we're going to put another layer on the bottom for the same reason, to strengthen it. Alright, I think we're ready for decoration. Let me hold this up to the light. That looks pretty even. Looks like the back of this could use a little more reinforcement. Alright. Because I want to make sure I don't lose any space. You put an extra layer on, you reduce how much it shrinks. So we're going to do that. But we're going to take this off. Get my... Oh my God! That's terrible. Right, right. I'm surprised he's still alive, honestly. You have to repot 20 of them? Did they break? Or are they just soaked? Wait a minute, you're doing... What are you repotting? Tomatoes or strawberries? Soaked. When you unpotted the first one, were any of the roots dead? Brown? When is the next sunny day? Oh. Oh. Really? You're repotting them? Good luck. They are thirsty crops. They do like a lot of water. Not all at once, but they do drink a lot. But how big are they? I've never replanted a melon. I didn't think they liked that. I've only field grown them. The leaves are brown. That doesn't usually happen from water. That happens from sun. It's the roots you've got to worry about. If the roots are nice and bright white, don't mess with it. From the storm. Well, good luck, sweetie. I hope they're not very big plants. 20 of them. And as far as the other stuff is concerned, there's more than one source that has come through for you as gift, surprise. So you need to attract another surprise. Happy surprise. I'm not doing a good job of doing this evenly. Hello, Janet. The roots are white, that's good. Well, if you can get them where they can drain freely, you may not have to repot all of them. Now, when the weather clears, they can go in the ground, right? Janet, Doc is in Hawaii where they are having all the storms, and his garden has been drowning. Of course you didn't. Mushrooms are indigenous. The spores float on the air. They fall off birds. They get carried with bugs. They're everywhere. That's not a bad thing. They break down waste matter. They don't attack a live root. They will live on the cellulose that's left from the dead stuff, usually dead wood, dead plants. It's got to be dead, and then they break it down. That's why we need them in the woods, to break down all the stuff that needs to be turned into nutrients for the trees. But growing inside the pots, number one, that's weird. Although they will grow anywhere there's perfect pH and moisture and lack of light. Mushroom is the fruit of the fungus, which means the mushroom is the mycelium that you usually don't see. Excuse me. So you don't have to worry about that unless it's taken over your plants. Good. So Janet, where are you from? Ah, no, stay down. Not wet enough. that is going to shrink, but not enough. So we're going to have to take some of this off. What a shame. All right. Now it's time. Been waiting for this ever since it arrived. Where's my other towels? And here it is. Question is, do I want to go all the way around the back to the front? No, I'm not sure. Okay, sit over there for a minute. I need a new perspective. I need to stand up and look at my future pocketbook. This is the front, that's the top. It's going to overlap like that. Should I bring that in a little more? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, well, this can actually be turned into a flower later if I keep it wet. So we will keep it wet for the moment. All right. So now we let's see, stop there. We'll stop there. Those tassels are just so cute. I want them sticking out. I just got a blue linen dress, very plain and no pockets, and it's very close to that blue, that medium blue. Go back. Oops. Don't you go crazy. dry hands. Okay. Tip, I'm covered with little hairs. That's funny. And where did I put the blue? Oh, there it is. Good stuff. let's finish getting you settled in. Come on, you gotta stay down there. I want you to behave. You're not behaving. Okay. You, what are you doing there? All right. Oops. Forgot to batten down the hatches down here. First. All right, and I want the bottom to be nice and strong. Although this isn't the kind of purse that you just put down You usually wear it all day. But just in case, you want them to be really firm and not get caught on anything, because, you know, you never know. Now the nice thing about this styrofoam for the mold is that even as this shrinks, it can't get any smaller than this, so I'll still be able to fit everything I want into it. Plus, it's fabric when it's done, and it stretches when I put things in it. We're going to see how far that goes. Now, I'm going to start the felting. Make sure all that stuff's in the right place so I don't felt it into the wrong place. Because I don't want to have to add any more once I start this felting part. Emma! Hello, my darling. How are you? Good to see you. I'm making a purse. My first purse. So it'll be a bag. I have been waiting for this ever since I saw somebody make a bag. It's like, I have to do that. That's what I want to do next. So here we are. Thank you. So this is the wool I got for this project. It's 4 or 5 strands. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 6 strands. And as soon as I saw it and I got all this, it's like, I know what I'm making. I'm making a bag to wear across my body because I don't have anything that matches some of my new clothes. So I'm making stuff to go with my new clothes. I started sewing my pocket on that I made onto my sweatshirt. And what's really going to be finished, I'm hoping to have this, well, it will be done before. My sister's taking me out the last Saturday of the month. We're going to go buy some wool and specialty fibers for me to do this with. And so I'm really psyched, but I want to be able to wear one of my own things into town. We're driving to a place called Mystic Seaport for the day to celebrate our birthdays. So how's work? You're saying you're uncreative? Why do you label yourself with a negative? Haven't I taught you better? You want to be more creative? Creative Emma. Brilliant Emma. Sunshine Emma. Light of my heart, Emma. Oh, it was taken? We have to come up with another word for you. I have a synonym finder. Pick out a word. We'll see what we can match to it that nobody else is using. So, when I moved in here, I wanted a garden, and nobody was taking care of the gardens. We didn't have because of COVID, they'd stopped bringing the crew out to plant, so for a couple of years nothing was growing. So when I moved in, it was like, oh, no, we're gonna grow some stuff, and I planted some stuff out. And then we got a manager who did not last long, but while she was there, she tore out everything I planted and did put flowers in, which were an improvement, so I wasn't upset. But we were trying for 40 years in this building, not for me, but everybody else that was here. They've been trying to get gardens for the people who live here. We're finally having that happen this year, and our first garden club meeting is next week. And I'm going to plant beets. I already have the seeds. And the reason is the fruit, which won't be ready until autumn, is below ground. And the greens will just look really pretty. And because beet greens are magenta and green, I'm hoping a bunch of people will think they're poison and don't go near them, so I don't get people stealing my beet greens. I am excited. We're going to be deciding how we're going to break up the beds, because they're going to put the beds in for us. We're going to pick on the meeting, we're going to pick out where we want to put the beds in the first place. And then it's going to be decided, like, we're going to do like community beds, we're going to do flowers, food. I mean, we got to make some choices. And like I said, I know people steal. It's like a foregone conclusion, because these beds are going to be raised beds, so we don't have to do a bunch of bending. But it's also going to be right out there where we've got 500 people, including some children, that are going to see it. So I don't want to, they know not to pick the flowers, but when it comes to food, aside from the skunks, which we do have, we don't want to attract the skunks. So, I mean, we're going to have our challenges because of where we are, but it'll be our first year. We actually are going to have people working together, and I've been pushing for that since I moved in here, because I said, it's a good thing to keep people active, and we should have a victory garden. Like in the old days, people grew some stuff to help make ends meet, and just the exercise of going outside. And there's nothing like a freshly harvested vegetable. It's just, Maui knows, right? Garden seeds? That's great. Well, I have all my sprouting seeds, so I know they're organic and they're strong. Depending on what we get, I would love to grow some arugula outside, because I can harvest that every 2 weeks. And most people aren't going to know what it is. Kids are not going to bother with greens. What kid wants a vegetable? So I'm not too worried about that. So basically, I would just want to grow some greens that I can't do indoors anymore because of the freaking gnats. We got a new mayor, and our mayor is more community-minded. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some other stuff like more spaces for the public to do things like plant out. We don't have anything for youth here. And that was my complaint 50 years ago. What do you want the young people to do? They need something to do, or they're going to get in trouble because there's nothing to do. And that's what happens, you know. You have a bunch of young teenagers bored out of their minds and nothing in town, nowhere to go. Now down south, we had the exact same problem because they thought the kids should be entertained by church. Church picnics, Bible study, Bible summer camp. The church was their social life. But young people are not all about that. Yeah, they'll go with their families, and some of them get a little overboard too, but most of them are going to be normal teenagers who want to socialize, not with a bunch of people who are just sitting there going, I promise not to let you touch me because I'm pure. Yeah, that's not inspiring. So I think it's a good idea for communities to pay more attention to what they're offering the young people. Now, I remember even years ago, summer vacation was a dangerous time. The kids, they always had little projects for the little kids, but then when you got to be a teenager, you were in that in-between age. You weren't in college or college age. You weren't working full-time yet. So it's like, well, what do? I don't want to hang out with those little kids in the playground. So we had community contests for the summer, like chess champion and checker champion, and they had softball champions. So each playground in the town, or I guess it was a city, small city, every playground participated. They would have their competitions in their playgrounds and then send their champions to the main park in town for the summer festival where, you know, it was like a little carnival, you know what I mean. Just things to keep people busy, kids busy. Very Pollyanna-like, you know. Nothing dramatic. I was a chess champion and a checker champion. But the chess championship, I lost in the first game. And the checker championship, I didn't get very far before I lost to that too. But I was the champion of my playground, which is not a great boast, but I was proud. At least it was something to do when there was no school. But when you were younger, you know, we had different setups. We had block parties. You could close off the block, and everybody came out front and sat on the front stoop and watched each other's kids, and it was really really nice. It was like what I saw as a normal, quiet childhood. But now, what do these poor kids have? Nothing. Almost nothing. Again, you know, it depends on where you are, but if they think that going to church is going to be everything a child needs, well, guess who's going to be the first one to leave the church? I can't wait to see what everybody else wants to plant in the garden. Like one of my friends is really looking forward to it, but she's had several skin cancers, a couple of them dangerous, where she's had to have surgeries. They had to do plastic surgery on her nose where they had to take, like 3 times they had to go in and remove layer by layer and take skin cells from the other side of the nose and put them over there to grow. It's like, ah. So she wants to have a garden patch, but we're talking about that this morning. It's like, well, the best time to go out anyway is before the sun is up. or just when the sun is first rising. You don't want to be in the sun, and that's the best time in the summer anyway, when it's still cool out, because boy, we have very high humidity in the summer and it's not pleasant to be out there. But even on the farm, I was up there with the sun, or I was out there and up with the sun. We got up at 5:35 every day, and once got Glenn off to work, I was in the garden with the dogs and cats. Okay, we need some more anchors. Okay, let's get everything battened down. Do I have enough fiber holding things down? Maybe not. A little bit more. No. We have this really bright turquoise blue still on this. We don't want that. Ay. Did you send me something, Maui? Because I can't look at it right now. You did. Another attachment. I don't want to lose that. Messenger. Oh yeah. Exactly. We just want pockets. What's so hard about that? Women have been complaining about this for centuries. Centuries. That's pretty ridiculous. You would think that more women would be designing and making pockets, and I believe the women are, and the men are still ignoring it. It's kind of like the pink tax, you know. They won't confess that there is a pink tax, but there absolutely is. Things for women cost more than they do for men, even when they're identical. Razors, underwear, you know, like Depends, that kind of thing. Women's are more expensive than men's, and they're identical. If they paint it pink, it's girls. It's girls, it's more. Thanks, I did look. I think I've seen that one before, but I will check it out later more in depth. But yeah, we've been complaining about that for a long time. Instead, we're the ones that break our shoulders and give ourselves migraines carrying around everybody's weight in the bag. Now, when I was in music, it was a real practical thing. I had a big bag. I was ready for everybody. Everything from chloroseptic spray for our sore throats from singing to blow dryers for our soaking wet hair and bodies after a set. Aspirin, Tylenol, whatever, and you know, I was a walking first aid kit for the band. So yes, I always had a bunch of things to carry. And my bag was like a weapon if I swung it at you, so it was heavy. But now I want small bags, light bags, things that don't break me. You are supposed to be stuck to that. Okay. I see a little dark spot here. Yeah. Well, women would like to see what's in men's jeans, so there's no false advertising. I don't think men really want to do that, do they? You want to see what's in your jeans and in your pocket and in your wallet. Are you going to be a good provider? No? Go away. If you're going to be a good provider, it doesn't matter what you have in the front of your pants. If you're a shitty provider, you better offer more. If you know what I mean. Yeah, like the rock and rollers. It really did that. You know who was the first one to have a scandal with that? Quarter Flash. No, wait, no, wait. God. The lead guy reminded me of the lead guy of Journey. Small, skinny, super tight pants, and a sock in his front. Who was that? It was scandal when they found out. Do you remember who that was? Quicksilver Messenger Service. That was it. I saw them live in concert, and I remember being pretty stoned, but still going, what the hell is wrong with him? And then feeling embarrassed for him. Something like that, yeah. Not while I was watching, no. But it looked really weird, you know? It's like you can't be aroused for the whole set. And if you were really that big, those pants would hurt. You know, I was back in the leathered pants, tight leather pants days, when Grace Jones was big. Now, I remember teenage girls, we were so self-conscious about our breasts that if we did not develop at the same rate as our sister girls did, we stuffed our bras with tissues. That was before they made things to go in there. And why did we do that? boys. Did we care on our own? No. Did we care what boys thought? Yeah. The embarrassing days of early rock and roll. All the weird expectations people put on others. Crazy world. But all that, it's all hype. But back then, we had one thing that we kept in mind as performers. And it was real important for us to keep our heads about things. Never buy your own hype. Don't buy your hype. That was the number one lesson. And what they were putting out there for advertising you, getting attention for you, it was bullshit. But people believed their own hype, and that was always a problem because their heads swelled, but their talent did not improve. Eventually, of course, they disappear. But yeah, it's pretty pathetic when you see them cock-a-doodle doing around like they're really hot shit. They're just believing what's being written about them, and you know what I mean? It's just really sad when that happens. It's like, man, you're good, but you're not that good. You got lots of competition. Someone else is sitting there writing all this stuff about you. The way they used to invent relationships. Oh, yeah. Oh, is that what happened? Oh, my God. No, I missed that one. Would have liked to see that one. It's like, how tight do you need to be? That had to be so painful. You can't wear underwear. Ouch. Another thing, I don't know about you guys. I thought you got sweaty balls, to be honest. I remember my husband's complaining about that when they were doing something athletic. So I can't imagine why anybody would be working up a sweat on stage, wearing super tight jeans, sweating and rubbing as you're dancing around. I mean, whoa. Talk about chafing. Clear as day. Oh my God. Yeah, that's a scandal and a half. However, it doesn't seem like it ruined his career, did it? Actually, I don't remember what his hits were now. Maybe I'm confusing him with the other Lenny. It might be. I'm in Nomaris mode, which means this world gets shut out and I don't remember shit. So I can focus on my other reality. Oh, look what time it is. You know what time it is. I'm going to leave at 6 so I can make dinner at a reasonable time. Hey, stay down. Now, one of the things they mentioned in making a purse video, you came up, you're not supposed to do that. fastened itself to this again. Stay there. They said to make sure you get the corners really well, otherwise they'll be kind of loose. They mislead females from only wearing pasties on her breast, but she was wearing jeans. Well, I don't blame her. It's hot up there. What's the band? Do you think that the band gets more fans because of that? Or are they good enough without having to use those things? And they're so good they can do that. Yep, that's American. Exactly. Well, of course, you know, if it's against your religion to look at a woman, that's another problem. I'm only taking this out because I know it's a black sheep hair, but honestly, sitting there like that, it looks like a pube. So once again, this is going to have to be finished tomorrow because I am not going to be able to do all of the fulling tonight. Well, you know, in Switzerland, Sweden, it's not unusual to have naked TV. They do the facts of life, you know, they teach their children the facts of life and not to be self-conscious about their bodies. Also, not to make too much about the body. It's your body, right? You take care of it, but yeah, they've got a healthier attitude. Americans are completely stuck in Puritan land because of our evangelistic, puritanical roots. But of course, you know, in the Middle East, they have a problem too. And that's what I think is a big problem, because it's like you need to, instead of covering women up like there's something wrong with them, teach your men some self-fucking-control. Just because a woman is out there showing her body, if you can't control yourself, that's your fault. Once you're an adult, grow up. Stop making it somebody else's responsibility for your thoughts. Oh, I'll have lustful thoughts if I see a woman's ankles. And you know how bad and evil that is. So, yeah, so when you come to America, you pull your dick out in front of any woman that sits there long enough to talk to you. Because you're sure American women are horny for men's penises. I have never gotten so disrespected as I did from guys who were from Syria visiting here. It's like, what? Get that dick back in your pants, mister. I don't know who the hell you think you are, but yeah, I have actually had to experience that. And the person who did that owned a restaurant. Imagine. Just assuming, well, you're not out with your husband, so you must want it. It's like, no, I'm not out with my husband because we're getting ready for a divorce, but that doesn't mean I want you. Yeah, really rude. I remember one night after I had a solo gig, so I went to the diner that I always went to after Renaissance Fair or a gig, and I went to the back to the diner where I always had a table because they knew me, and ordered waffles or something, and a whole bunch of Middle Eastern guys were partying with a single blonde bimbo, which, you know, it was obvious what that was all about. The guy saw me sitting by myself and he came over and he stuck his fork in my food and helped himself to my food. Yes, I called the manager. Yes, I made a big deal about it. It's like people just have so much nerve and they make so many assumptions. So they have to behave when they're in their own country and then they come here and use the women here. Now, in fact, they were buying women. They were looking for women to go back with them and be blonde bimbos. They wanted blondes. I guess they don't have a whole lot of blonde bimbos in the Middle East. Well, these guys were not famous as far as I knew. They were just business people who had come across the ocean and were looking for women. Did you ever see Cannonball Run? Wait, no, was it Cannonball Run? Yeah. Cannonball Run, where Jamie Klinger, Jamie Farrell, he played a Middle Eastern dude entering the race, and he went to get takeout food and he saw the buxom blonde who was giving him the food. He threw money at her like, get an examination, I'll be back to get you. It's like, yeah, it's like, I will buy your women. How much for the woman? How much for the little girl? And so it's no mystery where some of those problems come from. Okay, I see a weak spot right there. We're going to fix that right now before we get any further. And then we'll fix it with some of the natural color here. There's some stuff you can't see until you're developing it enough. Now, since this part's going to be against my body, I guess I should put a little bit more this down, because it will get rubbed against my body and it's more likely to lift. Let's make sure we got all that. We want these corners nice and heavy anyway because that's where I'm going to be making a hole for the strap. Okay, you are not felting down because you're not a natural fiber, so we're going to have to definitely add to that. Right there. Add a little more over there, maybe a little blue. Poof. Little poof of blue. So I'm going to leave it on the mulch all night. Tomorrow morning I'll be back as early as I can get my butt in here, because it will be doing to take it off the mold, finishing off the edges. You have got to massage all the sides to heal them, and then inside out, beat the hell out of it, rinse it. After it dries, we will poke some holes in it. So Maui, how many plants are you up to now? Nope, you're lifting. Alright, we're not felted enough for that yet. But we know what to do. More of this. Oh, here. The guy from MASH, yeah. Oh, you know, I do not like leaving dishes in my sink overnight, because when I get up in the morning, well, you know, I want to start a new day and I don't want to start with dishes. But last night I had to leave the air fryer basket soaking because I cooked big piece of chicken on the grill. So I soaked it overnight, but that meant that in this morning I came in and I had, you know, a mess to clean up. So I had to do that before breakfast, and I hate when I start off the day like that. So there will be no dishes in the sink overnight. Did you send me another message? Hey, you want to crack up? Today is actually the anniversary with my first husband. We got married on March 20th, but that was 1983. It was a full moon. It was the first day of spring on the 20th instead of 21st. And this time it was a new moon. So that was pretty cool. Time does go by. Alright, we're going to work this tomorrow. We're just going to wrap it up and keep it wet. drying it overnight and getting weird. Well, I had fun. We'll just leave that flat like that. All right, muchachas. Adios. Aloha. Until tomorrow. Time it is on your side. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. Time. No, I can't remember that exactly. I can't sing it without hearing it again. No, can't do it with my voice again. Gotta hear it. Been too many years. It's on my side. Yes, it is. Okay, I got it. All right, I'm going. I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your plants and sweet dreams when you get to